the wastewater, which is like that. So that concludes the outside of the vehicle. We're now going to move on to the inside. Moving to the inside of the vehicle, you'll notice that firstly, just as you walk in through your habitation door, you've got your control panel. So to operate the control panel, firstly you have your master switch, which is here. If I turn that off rather, you can see that all your lights are disactivated, and as I say, that's your master switch. You'll still notice that I've got some lights on here. They're your porch lights, which can be turned on and off through these switches here. Coming back to your control panel, to turn this on, as I say, just click that button there and that'll activate everything. Underneath here is your vehicle battery level. If I hold that, it'll show you your level. You know that that's your vehicle battery because it's the battery in the front of a van. And then in the back of a van, you've also got another battery, and that's for your habitation battery. So that's your leisure battery. Again, hold that and that'll show you your level. Coming across, you've then got your freshwater level, which I've got a little bit in at the moment, so it indicates there. Directly opposite this is your wastewater level. And then finally on this side you've got your pump, which activates there. So, the main thing that you need to know with the pump is when you're on site, obviously only run the pump when you've got water in the system. What you need to do is fill up the system. Once you're on site, come to your pump and turn your pump on. You then need to go to all of your taps, including your shower, turn them on and turn them to hot. What that's going to do, it's going to pull fresh water from the freshwater tank through the boiler and then through the pipe system out through the tap. That's going to then spurt and splutter, and once it's running steadily, you know that you've primed your system. You need to do this, as I say, for all your taps, including your shower. Once you've done that on hot, flick it over to cold and do the exact same. Once it's running steadily, you've primed your system and you're good to go. Once you've done that, leave your pump on, because on each of your taps you've got micro switches, so it'll only activate the pump when you need it, just like you would get at home. Before I move on from your control panel, you'll notice in the floor you've got two areas there. What you've got with this is an access point, so you can use it for shoe storage and things like that. Moving through to the kitchen, we've spoken about your taps already. And here you've got your hob, and then your oven and grill, which is down there. You then got storage, which is throughout the vehicle. Just coming to here, you'll firstly notice that you've got your isolation valves, which are just here, these red taps. Don't press them, don't mess around with them, just leave them as they are. You only need to turn them when you are advised to by a technician. You've got storage underneath there. And then underneath, as I say, your oven and grill, you've got a bit more storage. But this is where your RCD breaker is located. If the vehicle ever trips, you need to come to here and come to this point. Whilst I'm on the topic of the RCD breaker, your fuses and everything are underneath your passenger seat, which can be accessed rather by just removing the cover and then simply pull out the tray with them all on. Moving on to your fridge, you've got a Dometic 3-way fridge, which is here. To operate this, it's called a 3-way fridge because there's 3 ways to fuel it. So firstly, you'll notice that you've got like a cable. This cable indicates that it's 230 volts, so if you're on site and you're plugged in, you can run it off this, which is 230. Next to that, you've then got a flame, which indicates it's gas, which you're going to be using when you're wild camping. And then finally, you've got the 12-volt leisure battery, which you're going to be using when you're travelling. A lot of people think that they can run the fridge off the leisure battery, which is here, when they're wild camping, but they can't because it'll simply trip the battery. It draws too much power, the fridge. So if that's the case, you need to come over to your gas and run it off that. As I say, you can only run it off the leisure battery when you are travelling because you've got a built-in alternator with this, which will simply send a feed of charge to this, which will then power the fridge. You'll then notice at the bottom here, at the end rather, you've got an A button. That stands for automatic. If you click that, when I turn the fridge on, click A, that'll then automatically assign whichever fuel you have, go into the van and power the fridge from that. On this side, you've then got your temperatures, and then finally, you've also got a reset button if you ever get any error codes. In the top here, in this specific model, they've gone for a Vision Plus aerial To operate this, all you need to do is unscrew the top here, simply push up the aerial stalk and then tighten again. On the bottom here you then have this arm which can tilt the head of the aerial just to get a better signal. And then you'll notice that the box is on, because indicated by that green light, and shows that we've got a good signal. You've got a switch which is on the top here just to turn on and off that area. You've also got a dial here to change the range as well. Opposite the kitchen is the bathroom area. You'll notice that on this side you've got your cassette toilet. We've spoken about obviously your taps and your shower, so you're happy with that. But the main thing is your cassette toilet. When in use, you need to make sure that the blade is open. So when you're using the toilet, open the cassette, which will then open the door. That'll then allow all the waste to drop into the cassette. So when in use, open it up, all the waste can drop into the cassette. Once you've done that, you then need to go to this blue button here, which is on the back, and click that. That activates your flush. And that'll flush the entire system. Once you've done that, close your blade after every single use. That'll stop any odours from escaping, and it'll also make sure when you come to remove the cassette that you've emptied it, that it can be removed. Just on the topic of this blue button here for your flush, that'll only work when you've got your pump on, so make sure you've got that. And you'll also get a red light on here to indicate when the cassette is full and you need to empty it. Moving into the back area, you've then finally got your beds with some storage up at the top. You've got storage underneath here as well, and also a pull-out drawer which is there. You've also got some switches here to change the lights. Just whilst I'm here, I'll also show you how to operate your blinds and things like that. On all your windows, you've got your pull-up blackout blind, which is there, and at the top, you've got a pull-down fly screen. On each of your windows, you'll notice that you've got these catches. Unhook these to open the window, and then you can simply push out. You can have these on venting as well if you like, but obviously make sure, and this goes for your skylights as well, that they're all closed when travelling. Moving back through, you'll then notice that you've got your drop down bed. To operate this, all you need to do is put your key in, turn it, and then you can drop the bed. When dropping the bed to its lowest point, just remove this back cushion and that one there, so you can drop it all the way down to the halfway point. That concludes the handover on the Burstner Lyseo 728. I hope you enjoyed.